Hey cuties, I'm Lanikia and you're watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is Days of Our Lives. Days of Our Lives got interrupted on my news because of a plane crash. So I had to wait for it to come on Peacock so that I could watch, well, come on Hulu, you know how it plays on Hulu, so that I could watch it. Okay. All right, so we see Eli is awake and let me just, okay, so Eli is awake and Lonnie sees him and she's like, "Oh my gosh, baby, I'm so happy you're awake." And so she said, "Let me go and get some help." So she go and get help. And Lonnie, okay. So when she goes to get help, Paulina and TR was outside, right at the nurse's station. And he is convinced Paulina to let's go back and talk in private at my place. And she said, "I'm not going to your place." And he said, "Okay, let's go to we can go to your place. We can go to your place." He just wants to get out of the hospital. And she said, "All right." So she agrees to go back and talk to him in private, just about them, their relationship and everything at her place. So they're, and I'm like, so they're getting on the elevator as Lonnie's coming out, and she's just like, "Oh, Eli's awake." And I'm like, "Girl, say it." Like, I would have been running out the room like, "Oh my gosh, calm somebody quick. Eli's awake." But she all calm and she doesn't say anything. And then she looks and sees Paulina and TR in the elevator and she's like, "Paulina?" I don't know why I don't know why it ticked me off, but it did. I'm like, if you had spoken louder or said something, they would have saw it and like look up. Like, what are you doing looking at the floor? But anyways, Paulina is gone with TR because she didn't see Eli. I mean, she didn't see Lonnie. So Lonnie gets tripped and he goes in and they talk to Eli. And so they're talking with him and everything, and he can remember, but he can't remember what happened to him. So we're gonna pause this story. Okay, so he can remember, but he can't remember what happened to him. And then Lonnie is just so excited. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta call everyone and tell them." And they said, Trip said, "I'll call for you." And she says, "Okay." So then Trip, he's gonna do all the calling for her, and so we're gonna pause Lonnie and Eli right there and pick them back up later. All right. So then we see that Abe is talking to Julie, and he's just telling her about how Paulina kissed him and everything, and he kind of has feelings for her. And she said, "I know you got feelings for her. I can tell by the way you talk about her." And he said, "But I don't want her to hurt me again. I don't want her to hurt me again." And he said, "Because she lied too much." And she said, "What else you got to lie about now? All the secrets out there." She said, "But I know, love is a young man's game, and you're a little older now. You don't feel like you can compete." And he said, "Wait a minute now." And she said, "Yeah, it's okay. You don't feel like you compete with Ray. He's charismatic, and you don't think you could win Paulina from him if went up toe to toe against him." And he said, "No, I didn't say all that." And she said, "Go get the woman if you really want to be with her, and everything." And so he agrees with her, but he was like, "But I'm supposed to be getting the kids." And she was like, "I could keep watching them. Go ahead and get Paulina." So he going over to Paulina's house, right? Now Paulina is in her place, and Ray done asked this woman to marry him. I said, "Too soon, sir. Like he's desperate to get this money." And I said, "Oh, so you're trying to kill Paulina to get the money, like, because that's the only way I can see him getting to it like that." And so he said, I'm so happy that we reconnected and have Lonnie in my life and everything and marry me, girl." And she said, "What? I'm not marrying you. We're not even in a relationship or anything. And you trying to marry you?" And he said, "Well, okay. Too soon. Well, I'm in love with you and everything, so I'm ready to go." He said, "But since you need more time, how about you just go away with me for the weekend?" And she said, "What? Eli?" And he said, "Eli ain't gonna wake up." He said, "Eli not waking up." It did look like Eli wasn't waking up. He said, "Eli not gonna wake up. Come on, go away with me it's just a weekend. And you can relax, you can get your mind off things. You've been working too hard. You've been babysitting, you've been taking care of Lonnie, taking care of Chanel. Let me take care of you this weekend." And she said, "That do sound good." And she was like, "Well, let me call Lonnie." And he said, "Don't worry about it. I'll tell her." And so she said, "Where's my phone? Let me call Lonnie." He said, "Don't worry, I'll tell her." So she found her phone and she's like, "Okay, you can tell her." And she said, "Well, let me go start packing." So she in the room packing and stuff. And the phone rings because remember Trip said he would call everybody. So the phone rings and it's Trip. And he said, "Lonnie?" He said, No, I'm actually calling for Lonnie because Ray picks up her phone." And he tells Ray every day, like, we have great news. Eli's awake and everything. He was like, really? Does he remember anything? Because that's that's what's on Ray's mind. And Trip says no right now, but he said, but that's normal, and we expect him to make a full recovery, and he'll be, he will remember or whatever. And so, TR was just like, okay, that's well. Thank you for giving us the good news or whatever. He was like, you're welcome. Gets off the phone with Trip. Paulina go pick her around. You talked to Lonnie? He said, yeah, that was her right there. She said it's great that she think it's great that you're going and you have the time of your life or whatever. She was like, oh, that's so sweet. And he said, and she was like, so later on, they showed them, and he was like, Paulina, come on. And she said, I'm still packing. He said, you don't need that many clothes. Where you going? I said, this man is trying to kill this woman. And he was like, it's just the weekend. He didn't tell her that. He just said it to himself. He was like, it's just the weekend. And she was like, I'm almost done. So then Abe comes to the door. And why am I just seeing that the door says 227? I said, oh, really? That's what y'all doing. But anyways, Abe comes to the door and he sees TR there, and they're sizing each other up because Abe done came over there to get his woman. Oh, Trip, please call Abe while they are on the phone, while he is there with Paulina and TR, so she can go on back and not go to the hospital, go away with TR because he got murder on the mind. But anyways, so then we go back to Eli and Lonnie. So going back to them, right? So Eli's like, how long have I been asleep? And she said, since March. I said, it's just been since March? I could have sworn it's been since December. But she said, since March. You've been going out since March. And he said, what is it now? She said, man, he said, baby, I'm sorry. She was like, no, it's not your fault and everything. So she was telling, he was like, how did I end up in the hospital? So she told him, you were supposed to see Beth. He said, yeah, what did Beth say? She said, TR was a great boyfriend. He didn't beat her. He wasn't on drugs. He said, really? That's what she said? And she was like, yeah, because that's not the impression Eli was getting that he was going to get from Beth. And he also told Lonnie, because she said, TR's been my mom, Paulina, and she was like, Paulina and Abe have been great and everything. And I'm so happy that you're, to have you around. I've been happy to have TR around because he's been great help. And he said, please don't tell me that man been near our kids. And she said, he was never left alone. She said, there's a lot we got to catch you up on. He said, clearly. Okay, so then he was like, well, how did I get in the hospital? She said, a drug dealer named Frank, he shot you. And by the time Sean and I were the first on the scene, and by the time we got there, Frank had already OD'd. So she showed the picture of Frank. And he said, I don't know no Frank. And she was like, are you sure? He was like, I don't know, Frank. And then he starts remembering. And she's like, Eli, what's going on? I said, please, Lonnie, be quiet. Let this man think. And he says, I'm remembering. She said, what do you remember? And so he was like, he started remembering. I was like, yes, this is how you do a memory scene. Because tell Bold and the Beautiful, because that whole taking forever for Steffi to remember this. Anyways, so he was like, he remembered struggling with the gun. He was like, I'm struggling with somebody over, and she said, the person who shot me, she said, was it Frank? He said, it might be. I said, oh, y'all not going to reveal it till Monday? But they said, no, we're going to reveal it today, girl. Okay. And so he went back to his memories and he was like, I'm struggling. And then he saw TR's face where he told TR, you're not going to be near my family. He said, you can't keep me from my daughter and Paulina and all that, my grandkids. And he said, watch me. And then he remembered TR shooting him. And he said, she was like, who shot you? And he said, TR shot me. And that's how I ended with them, y'all. I said, whoo, this is a mess. Y'all doing it for May sweeps. All right. So then we go over here with Ben, Johnny, and Susan. So Ciara is in labor now because Ciara was trying to leave and she was like, Ellie, I'm getting up out of here. And Ellie said, no, you're not. And she said, yes, I am. But then Ciara water broke. So now she on the floor trying to have this baby. And so Allie is trying to help her. And so they say, Johnny, come on, you got to try to connect to Allie. So he was like, okay, I'm going to try. And so he goes in and he's like, Allie. And he starts seeing Ciara through Allie's eyes. And so he sees Ciara and he's like, she's on the floor. She's in pain. And they said, is she hurt? And they said, no, she's in labor. And they was like, oh my gosh. And they said, where is she? And so Allie, he's like, Allie, look around, show me, like, tell me where you are. And then Allie, the demon, devil Allie said, get out of there. And knocked him out. And they said, come on, Johnny, you got to try again. You got to try again. So he was like, okay, I'm going to try again. And so he goes in and he tries again. And he was like, I see a cabin. He was like, where are you? So Allie's looking and he was like, I see a cabin. And then the devil knocked him out of there again. And he said, um, she knocked me out again, but they said what was it? He said I saw a cabin, but I don't know it. And he said, and Ben said, it's my cabin. I'm going. And so Ben takes off or whatever. And so then Susan says you got to try to connect with her one more time so we can know, that everything is okay. So he's like, okay. So he goes back in, and this is after Ciara has had the baby now, so she's pushing, and she finally has the baby now. She heard Ellie talking crazy, but Ellie said, "Oh, I was just talking to the baby," and so Ciara, Ellie has the baby in her arms, and Ciara was like, "Give me my baby. Is my son okay? Give me my son." And Ellie just keeps wiping, and she said, "Ellie, give me my baby." I said, "No. It's not your baby, it's mine." And she said, Ellie, this is some sick joke. This isn't funny. Give me my baby. And then that's when the devil came out and said, no, it's my baby. And so then Johnny connected again, and he was like, Ellie, you gotta fight. You gotta fight. Where are you? And so she went to looking around because see, when Ciara had dumped out her purse, right? And it was like a little ticket thing, I guess to a ferry or something or whatever. And it showed where they were. And he was like, so the devil knocked him out. And he said, I can't go in again. And she was like, shoot that. Susan was like, that darn devil. And she was like, no, that's all right. Because he said, I realized they're not in Ben's cabin. They're in Horton's cabin. And so she was like, oh my God. He was like, Ben went to the wrong cabin. So they're leaving messages for Ben, trying to get him to go to the correct cabin. So then they leave a message for Rafe and try to tell him, and I guess they're gonna take off and try to help too. But anyways, then we go back to Ciara, and Allie is gone. Like, and so Ben runs in, and I said, what is with y'all not announcing stuff, like taking time to announce stuff? And he's like, oh my gosh, baby, I was so scared. I went to the wrong cabin. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. Oh, how are you? Are you okay? And she was like, yes. And he was like, where's Allie? And then she finally, like, the first thing she should have said when she saw him was like, yeah, Allie took the baby. But finally, now she's going to say, she took the baby, and Allie is the devil, and the devil has our baby. And that's how it went off, y'all. And I said, please hurry up and wrap this storyline up with the devil being gone for good, because I cannot do this anymore. And I don't really like too much like playing with the baby and the devil and all that. I don't really like all that. But it is what it is. So that was Days of Our Lives, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And happy Friday evening. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, stay blessed. And I will see you Monday for a new week of What Happened on the Soaps Days of Our Lives edition.